Imagine you're invited to a wedding. The bride walks in, wearing a beautiful white dress. A few moments later, the groom arrives, dressed almost entirely in black. Nobody questions it. It just feels normal. But have you ever stopped and wondered, why? Why white? Why black? Who decided this should be the correct way to get married? Was it always like this? Or are we simply following a tradition that began hundreds of years ago? The answer is actually a mix of history, culture, fashion, and surprisingly, marketing. Let's start with the bride. If you ask most people why brides wear white, they'll probably say, because white represents purity. That's a common belief. But here's the surprising part. That wasn't the original reason. In fact, for most of history, brides didn't wear white at all. They simply wore their best dress. It could be blue, green, red, gold, or almost any color they could afford. Wedding dresses weren't something people bought just for one day. Most families couldn't afford that luxury. Instead, the wedding dress was often reused for important events throughout life. So, what changed? The turning point happened in 1840. A young queen named Victoria married Prince Albert. Instead of wearing the colorful royal robes people expected, she wore a white satin gown. At the time, it was an unusual choice, but there was a reason. She wanted to highlight the beautiful handmade lace on her dress. White made the lace stand out. Photographs and paintings of the royal wedding spread across Europe. People admired her style. Soon, women from wealthy families wanted to copy the queen. And just like that, a fashion trend was born. Notice something interesting. It wasn't a law. It wasn't a religious rule. It was basically the 19th century version of someone going viral. But there was another reason white became popular. Keeping white clothes clean back then was incredibly difficult. There were no washing machines, no modern detergents. A spotless white dress showed wealth. It quietly said, I can afford something delicate. Over time, people began attaching new meanings to the color. White became associated with celebration, fresh beginnings, and for many cultures, purity. But here's something most people don't know. Not every bride wears white. In China, red has traditionally been the wedding color because it symbolizes happiness, good fortune, and prosperity. In India, many brides also wear red or other bright colors. In some African cultures, wedding clothing is filled with vibrant patterns representing family and heritage. So, while white weddings have become common in many parts of the world, they're far from universal, which raises another question. If the bride gets the bright white dress, why is the groom almost always dressed in black? The answer is just as fascinating. So, why does the groom usually wear black? At first glance, it seems like a strange choice. One person is dressed in the brightest color possible, while the other wears one of the darkest. But there's actually a reason. Unlike the bride's dress, the groom's suit didn't begin as wedding clothing. It came from formal men's fashion. During the 18th and 19th centuries, European men's clothing gradually became simpler. Bright colors and elaborate decorations became less common for formal occasions. Dark suits, especially black, became symbols of elegance, respect, and seriousness. A wedding was considered one of the most important days in a person's life. So naturally, men wore their finest formal clothing, and that usually meant a dark suit or tuxedo. But here's something funny. The groom's outfit rarely gets much attention. Imagine asking wedding guests afterward, what was the groom wearing? Most people would probably say, a black suit, I guess. Now ask them about the bride's dress, and they'll likely remember every detail. This isn't by accident. Traditionally, the bride was meant to be the visual center of the ceremony. The groom's darker clothing helped keep the focus on her. Think of it like a movie poster. If everything is bright, nothing stands out. The contrast makes the white dress even more eye-catching. Our brains naturally notice bright objects against darker backgrounds. It's a simple trick of human perception, so the black suit isn't trying to compete. It's helping the white dress shine. And here's another interesting fact. Not all grooms wear black. Some wear navy blue, gray, white, or even traditional cultural clothing. For example, in Scotland, some grooms wear kilts. In India, many wear elegant shewanis. And in parts of Africa, traditional garments often feature vibrant colors and patterns, just like brides. Grooms' wedding clothing varies across cultures. So why do these traditions survive for so long? The answer lies in psychology. Humans love traditions. They connect us to our families, our communities, and the generations before us. When we attend a wedding, we already have expectations: a white dress, a formal suit, wedding rings, a wedding cake. None of these are biologically necessary. They're symbols. They tell everyone, this is a wedding, without anyone saying a word. That's the power of shared traditions. So, Why do brides wear white and grooms wear black? The answer isn't as simple as because they've always done it. The bride's white dress became popular after Queen Victoria's famous wedding and later took on symbolic meanings in many cultures. The groom's black suit evolved from formal fashion and became a symbol of elegance, while helping the bride remain the visual focus. Today, millions of couples still follow these traditions. Others create new ones, and that's what makes weddings so fascinating. They're a mix of history, culture, fashion, and personal choice. The next time you see a bride in white and a groom in black, you'll know there's much more behind those colors than most people realize. Sometimes, the things we never question have the most interesting stories.